He's a so-called god, dripping in gold, dressed like a flashy tycoon. Golden teeth gleam with every grin, blinding everyone in sight. Meanwhile, his devoted followers are crammed into slums, barely scraping by for a single meal. In this world, the only way an ordinary person can change their fate is to get into Divine Path University, the gateway to becoming a god. Because here, everyone has a shot at godhood. But where there are gods, there are demons, and they've been invading the human realm without mercy. Guns and missiles don't work on them. Only gods can fight back. So humans turned to faith, and that faith made their god stronger. Now, the gods and their chosen disciples live like royalty, enjoying power and privilege beyond imagination. Meanwhile, Li Tsang, a nobody who survives by scavenging trash, is fighting tooth and nail for his one shot at Divine Path University. But then came a twist. His father, dirt poor his whole life, left behind a bank card worth 5 million just before he died. From that day on, Li Tsang threw himself into his studies, desperate to unlock divinity, even though his godhood never awakened. Luckily, with the cash his old man left behind, he didn't have to worry about anything else but school. That is, until the truth hit him. His dad's money came from loan sharks. To pay off the debt, he had to deliver food, even in stormy weather. But one violent gust of wind blew his delivery box clean off the bike. In the haze, he looked up and saw two figures floating in the sky. It was the god of thunder and the lady of lightning. They had descended to slay a demonic creature threatening the human realm. But when gods go to war, it's the mortals who suffer. But Li Tsang never expected it. The shockwave from the gods' battle tore through him, leaving him barely alive. He didn't want to die. In his heart, he screamed, "If gods really exist, save me." And then, a strange black light burst from his chest. It shot straight up into the stormy skies, piercing the heavens. His consciousness drifted into what felt like pure chaos. Where the hell am I? Li Tsang thought, disoriented. Did I just get ice-skied into some world that never even had a Big Bang? Instinctively, he tried to breathe. That's when he realized there was no air here. This place was a vacuum. As he started to suffocate, a desperate thought flashed through his mind. Can I just get some air? The next moment, a powerful gust lifted Li Tsang into the air. To his shock, he could breathe and even speak within the chaos. Feeling the rush of wind, a realization hit him. He had only thought about needing air, and this vacuum had changed because of it. Testing a theory, he shouted, "Wind, stop!" Instantly, the wind died down. It was true. This world bent to his will. Gritting his teeth, Li Tsang roared, "Chaos, split." A deafening crack echoed as the chaotic void split open before him. He could feel it now. He could control everything in this space. It was like stepping into a myth, right before the world itself was born. Why not? He thought. Why not create a world, just like the old legends? He thrust his hand upward and tore the sky apart. Thunderclouds raged overhead, unleashing lightning like a storm gone mad. This must be the primal lightning tribulation from the dawn of creation. The heavens were forged. Next came the earth. Just as Li Tsang marveled at how peaceful the earth-shaping process seemed. A volcano in the center of the land suddenly erupted, spewing molten lava. He bolted, running for his life. But in the blink of an eye, the lava swallowed him whole. Luckily, his body instinctively formed a protective shield around him. Gazing at the wrecked, chaotic land around him, Li Tsang whispered, "Is this the world I created?" Before he could reflect any further, an overwhelming wave of exhaustion hit him. His body gave out, and his eyes slowly closed. He had no idea how much time passed, but when he snapped his eyes open again, he knew instantly. He was back in the real world. Floating in front of him was a strange, glowing orb. Almost without thinking, he reached out and touched it. And at that moment, a deep voice echoed in his mind, "Divine Kingdom." A divine kingdom. Only gods of true power can claim such a privilege. When a god becomes strong enough, they can carve out a portion of the world to make their own. Within their divine kingdom, a god can control everything at will, summoning storms, shaping the land, even rewriting reality itself. and the beings living inside will continuously offer faith, strengthening their creator even further. With something like this, forget just getting into university. Becoming a true god would be more than within reach. Typically, the nature of a divine kingdom reflects its god's domain. For example, a water god or a sea god would have kingdoms overflowing with water elements. But right now, Litsang had no idea how to use his divine kingdom, or even what kind of god he was supposed to be. Guess I'll just ask the teacher tomorrow, he thought, scratching his head. The next day in class, the instructor was lecturing about the divine paths, the many ways one could ascend to godhood. There are 9 major paths, but the most grueling are the martial god, the shrine god, and the faith god. These require not only immense personal power, but also widespread devotion from the people. Beyond those, there are paths that involve forging contracts with nature itself. The most famous are the elemental gods, masters of forces like fire, wind, and earth. But that path demands a deep affinity with nature and comes with incredible risks. Then there are the easier paths, like becoming a fertility god. Simply produce enough offspring to gather divine power. Or the wealth god path. Accumulate enough riches, and you can ascend to divinity through sheer fortune. Building a divine kingdom. That's the ultimate goal of every true god. A divine kingdom isn't just a symbol of power. It continuously feeds strength back to its creator. Hearing this, Li Tsang frowned. I already have a divine kingdom, so why don't I feel any stronger? After thinking it over, the answer clicked. His divine kingdom was still nothing but ruins, a dead, lifeless wasteland. In other words, if he could create life within it, he could finally begin to grow stronger. That night, when Li Tsang got home, he noticed something strange. His front door was wide open. Did someone break in? He cautiously stepped inside, only to realize it wasn't a thief. It was a little girl from next door. Her parents fought all the time, and whenever their arguments got too loud, she would come hide at his place. Judging by her thin frame and quiet shivers, she probably hadn't even had dinner tonight. Sighing, Li Tsang dug out his most treasured emergency stash, an old pack of pickled sauerkraut instant noodles he'd been saving for the holidays, and cooked it up for her. After finally settling the little girl down, Li Tsang returned to his room, sat cross-legged, and summoned his divine kingdom once again. Li Tsang stared at his divine kingdom, a wasteland so brutal, not a hint of life could survive there. He remembered something from his textbooks. Even gods can't just snap their fingers and create life. You have to follow the natural order, create the right environment first, and then life can take root. His divine kingdom already had a sky and earth, but it was missing one crucial thing: water. Water, the source of all life. But the drizzle in his divine kingdom was pathetic. At this rate, it wouldn't put out the lava even if he waited 10,000 years. I need a faster way, he thought, starting to panic. That's when he spotted a bottle of mineral water sitting on his desk. On a wild impulse, he grabbed it and let a few drops fall into his divine kingdom. What happened next left him completely stunned. The tiny drops exploded into a massive flood, a tidal wave big enough to drown the entire world. In an instant, his divine kingdom was torn apart into a chaotic mess. Li Tsang froze in horror. Wait, is my divine kingdom actually a low-dimensional world compared to reality? He could feel it. The overwhelming energy was ripping his world apart from the inside out. If the divine kingdom collapsed, then everything he had worked for would be gone. In a panic, Li Tsang summoned towering stone pillars across his divine kingdom to hold back the raging flood. But the pillars didn't last long. He gritted his teeth and willed them to explode, dispersing the water with raw force. Finally, the chaos subsided. Against all odds, he had survived the disaster. And then, from the battered ground, a tiny green sprout emerged. In the blink of an eye, it shot upward, growing into a colossal, sky-piercing tree. Exhausted beyond belief, Li Tsang blacked out on the spot. The next morning, he slowly woke up. The moment he moved, he realized something was different. His body felt heavier, stronger. He stumbled out of bed, glanced into the mirror, and was stunned. The once skinny Li Tsang had bulked up into a solid, powerful build. It had to be the first gift from the life force of his divine kingdom. With this boost, getting into Divine Path University would be a breeze. Before long, he'd become a true god, marry a rich beauty, and ride straight to the top of life itself. Just as he was savoring his fantasy, a blaring phone alarm yanked him back to reality. He grabbed his phone and immediately broke out in cold sweat. The entrance exam for Divine Path University was at 9 o'clock, and he was about to be late. Dashing out the door, he noticed the little neighbor girl, Mi Xan, still hanging around. Seriously, he thought, what kind of parents just leave their kid like this? No time to worry. Li Song kicked into high gear, sprinting so fast he nearly broke the sound barrier. Even he was shocked. The tiny bit of energy he got from his divine kingdom had supercharged his body to insane levels. He skidded to a stop, kicking up a thick cloud of dust in the street. Before he could catch his breath, someone grabbed him by the collar. Liang Kuan, the notorious troublemaker of their school. Liang Kuan, who flaunted his divine path, awakening and bullied everyone around him, complained that Li Song's dust cloud had dirted his clothes and demanded an apology. But Li Song simply smacked his hand away and said coldly, "Get lost, punk." Li Song smirked and said coldly, "Don't think you can throw your weight around just because you're a divine path candidate. You really think you're the only one in this whole school?" Liang Kuan's face twisted in rage. He rolled up his sleeves, ready to throw down. But before he could strike, a brilliant burst of light flashed across the sky. Floating above them was a young woman, glowing like a goddess. The radiant light was pouring from her body. She was Li Song Sr., a blessing god candidate, and the light was her divine power. As the glow washed over him, Li Song felt a surge of vitality and clarity. Moments later, all the students gathered at the school's training grounds. The Divine Path entrance exam had officially begun. The first stage, physical strength and endurance. Back in the day, Li Song would have been lucky just to pass this part. But now, with the strength from his divine kingdom, he was determined to take first place. Sure enough, in a long-distance run, Li Song finished first by a landslide. First in weightlifting, first in high jump, first across the board, unstoppable. Next up was the strength test. Li Song took a deep breath, braced himself, then launched a powerful punch straight into the machine, scoring an impressive 137 points. Grinning, he thought, "First place, here I come." But just then, a voice rang out from behind him. It was Zhao Ying, the tomboy of their class, famous for her monstrous strength. She stepped up, took a deep breath, and unleashed a punch that utterly obliterated the strength testing machine, sending broken parts flying everywhere. Unsurprisingly, the top spot in the strength test went to Zhao Ying. After that, they moved on to the second and most critical event, the divinity test. Standing before the students, the examiner explained sternly, "Whether you can walk the divine path hinges on one thing: whether you possess divinity. Divinity is not something you can earn or train for. It's determined at birth." The first to step up for the divinity test was Gao Ming. The instructor calmly reminded him, "Don't panic. Once you enter the machine, you'll feel intense pressure and a slicing sensation. It's all part of testing your limits." A moment later, violent tremors rocked the machine. Gao Ming stumbled out, looking completely wrecked. His result? 0 points. Time passed. Finally, the first student with actual divinity showed up, Liang Kuan, clocking in at 17 points, an attribute-less divine path candidate. Smirking smugly, Liang Kuan strutted over to Li Song and taunted, "17 points, baby. What about you?" Then came Li Song's turn. The moment he stepped inside, crushing waves of pressure slammed into him. If not for the enhancements from his divine kingdom, he might not have survived the ordeal. As the pressure intensified, Li Song could feel his divine kingdom stirring violently within him, on the verge of breaking free. But he knew, if he revealed his secret now, before he had the strength to defend it, he would be signing his own death warrant. Suddenly, a torrent of black energy burst skyward. The testing machine exploded in a deafening blast. When the dust settled, the result left everyone stunned. Li Song's divinity score was a staggering 70 points. That was enough to rank first in the entire city. The students erupted in cheers, lifting Li Tsong into the air in celebration. But a second later, they forgot to catch him. Li Tsong crashed face first into the ground, crying real tears of pain. Meanwhile, up on the school's rooftop, two senior students were secretly observing the exam. They were recruitment officers from Hanhai Divine Path University. The red-haired officer, Qian Qian, commented, "So far, 9 Divine Path candidates have emerged from Chongning City, but we only have 3 slots. We'll have to choose carefully." After a moment of thought, Yu Qianqian decided to recruit Zhao Ying. The other officer, without hesitation, set her sights on Li Tsong. Soon, the exam moved into its third and final phase, academic testing. For Li Tsong, this was a walk in the park. After all, he had spent years studying relentlessly in hopes of changing his fate. After the exam ended, the homeroom teacher called Li Tsong aside. Smiling, the teacher praised him. "With your scores, you're going to be the hottest prospect among all the recruiters." But he also added seriously, "Be careful. Not everyone who shows up has pure intentions. Spots at Divine Path University are rare, and recruiters will do anything to get the candidates they want." Elsewhere, as Zhao Ying was walking home, she suddenly found herself surrounded by a sea of vibrant, eerie flowers. Meanwhile, the sea of flowers began to twist and swirl, slowly forming the shape of a person. The figure spoke in a soft, coaxing voice. "Little girl, your divine path journey doesn't seem to be going too smoothly, but if you agree to become my divine attendant, you might just have a chance to become a lesser god one day." Zhao Ying didn't even hesitate. She immediately reached out and grabbed at Yu Qianqian's chest. Yu Qianqian jumped back in shock, yelling, "What the hell are you doing?" Zhao Ying took a deep breath and muttered, "Geez, you scared the crap out of me. I thought you were some kind of evil spirit." Yu Qianqian nearly exploded with rage. "Nonsense. Have you ever seen an evil spirit this gorgeous?" She snapped. "I was offering you a chance to serve a real god, and you dare treat me like this? Careful, or I'll teach you a lesson." But Zhao Ying just waved her off casually. "As long as you're human, whatever. If you're done, I'm heading home." Seeing her about to leave, Yu Qianqian angrily grabbed Zhao Ying's shoulder. The next second, Zhao Ying flipped her over with a clean judo throw, slamming her into the ground. As she walked away, Zhao Ying sneered, "With skills that weak, you call yourself a god?" Meanwhile, Li Tsong was deep in thought, studying his divine kingdom. Suddenly, a chilling aura crept closer. A grotesque figure wearing a ghostly mask was slowly approaching him. The shock nearly sent Li Tsong straight to heaven. But in the next moment, Li Tsong forced himself to calm down. He swung a sharp left hook at the creature. But to his shock, his fist passed straight through its body. Refusing to back down, he threw another punch. To the onlookers around him, though it just looked like he was wildly shadowboxing at empty air. Seeing their bewildered stares, Li Tsong's heart sank. Wait, they can't see it? That's when it finally clicked. These things were evil spirits, entities born from the resentment of life itself, a special form of energy that normal humans couldn't perceive. In this world, willpower could manifest into real energy. Faith gave rise to gods, but resentment birthed evil spirits. Most of them were mindless wanderers, harmless to divine path candidates, but still needed to be cleared out regularly. Li Tsong eyed the drifting evil spirits uneasily. Even if they weren't aggressive, he didn't want to get too close. Just then, his divine kingdom suddenly manifested on its own. A powerful suction force erupted from it, dragging all the nearby evil spirits inside. But the moment they entered, they grew monstrous in size, each one towering over 800 meters tall. Every step they took left massive craters 9 meters deep in the divine kingdom's ground. Li Tsong's eyes sharpened. He raised his hand toward the heavens, calling down the power of lightning. Thunder roared as he gathered a storm of crackling electricity in his palm, then hurled it straight at one of the towering spirits. With a deafening boom, the evil spirit was reduced to ashes, disintegrating into nothingness. To Li Tsong's surprise, the giant tree inside his divine kingdom began absorbing the evil spirit's energy. A moment later, that energy flowed straight back into his body through the divine tree. Turns out, evil spirits could actually power up his divine kingdom, and these spirits barely had any offensive power. If he took the initiative to wipe them out, couldn't he grow even faster? Fired up, Li Tsong summoned more lightning and blasted the remaining spirits into oblivion. As he felt the endless stream of energy pouring into him, Li Tsong's heart raced with excitement. It's working. If he could absorb all the evil spirits around him, his cultivation speed would skyrocket by dozens of times over. Without wasting a second, Li Tsong went on a rampage, clearing out every last spirit nearby. Just as he finally caught his breath, a chilling presence appeared behind him, a blood-red, evil spirit. Its head was twisted upside down, giving it a grotesque and horrifying appearance. For a split second, Li Tsong froze in shock. Then, without warning, the red spirit lunged forward like a bullet. Li Tsong had no time to react. The creature kicked him straight into the air, but oddly enough, he didn't feel any pain. Turns out, his divine kingdom had automatically activated its protective shield. Damn, Li Tsong thought, this one's a lot tougher than the others. But wait, why is it attacking me? Weren't evil spirits supposed to be passive? Still, stronger spirit meant way more energy to harvest. Grinning wickedly, Li Tsong locked onto the creature with his divine kingdom. The red evil spirit was sucked inside, and Li Tsong chuckled darkly. Give me half an hour, and you'll be nothing but sludge. But in the very next second, Li Tsong's smirk froze on his face. A sharp pain tore through his chest, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. He collapsed to his knees, racked by waves of agony from deep within. Inside his divine kingdom, the red evil spirit was wreaking absolute havoc, rampaging like a beast unleashed. The creature turned its twisted gaze toward Li Tsong, a fiery glow gathering in its mouth. And then it breathed out a torrent of flames. His divine kingdom was scorched in an instant, reduced to ruins. This isn't an evil spirit. This thing's a freaking apostle. Gritting his teeth, Li Tsong summoned a forest of stone spikes to trap the monster. Then he unleashed his true flame technique, but even after sustained burning, the creature didn't flinch. He followed up with a massive water sphere, slamming it down with full force. But still, the red spirit remained unharmed. Its size had shrunk slightly, so at least it was working barely. Outside, thunder cracked across the sky, lightning flashing in bursts. Li Tsong slowly opened his eyes, his face pale and drenched in sweat. He finally realized everything that happened inside the divine kingdom directly affected his body. This thing is killing me, and by the looks of that sky, it's about to pour. I need to retreat and regroup. Home, first. Suddenly, a deafening thunderclap split the sky. A bolt of lightning struck down, landing directly in front of Li Tsong. As the smoke cleared, a man emerged from the blast, lightning crackling around his right arm. Just one look told Li Tsong this guy wasn't ordinary. Better keep my distance, he thought. But the next moment, a second lightning bolt slammed into the ground right at his feet, blowing open a crater with a loud boom. The man's voice rang out, cold and commanding. Stop right there. You've captured a red-class evil spirit, haven't you? I can smell its aura all over you. Keeping it won't do you much good. Why don't we make a trade? Hand it over. I'm a recruitment officer from Zhongzhou Divine Path University, assigned here in Chaming City. Hand over the red-class evil spirit, and I'll give you a special admission slot at Zhongzhou Divine Path University. Zhongzhou Divine Path University. That was the top-ranked divine academy in the entire continent. But right now, the red evil spirit was still tearing through Li Tsong's divine kingdom. If he knew how to extract it, he would have done it already. As much as Li Tsong wanted to go to Zhongzhou, his divine kingdom was his greatest secret, and he couldn't risk exposing it to anyone. Thinking quickly, he pointed off to the side and said, "Senior, that red spirit you're talking about? It took one look at me and ran that way. I've got no idea where it went after that. Anyway, you look busy, so I'll be going now, okay?" But the man didn't budge. He simply raised one finger toward Li Tsong. A bolt of lightning erupted from his fingertip, piercing straight through Li Tsong's chest. His divine barrier didn't block it at all. The man's hands crackled with more lightning as he slowly walked forward. With a sneer in his eyes, he pressed his palm against Li Tsang's forehead. He was going in for the kill. But just as the blow was about to land, a wave of radiant flowers surged through the air. The sky lit up with multicolored divine light. It was the senior from school gates. She was a blessing god, currently at the manifested saint level with a godlike divinity score of 3,110. Moments later, the sea of flowers beside Li Tsang pulsed again, forming the graceful figure of a woman draped in petal-like robes. It was Yu Qianqian, the flower god, a divine path candidate at the manifested saint level, with a staggering divinity score of 2,937. Yu Qianqian spoke firmly. Li Tsang, tell your senior. What happened here? Li Tsang looked utterly wronged. I don't know. This guy just showed up, said something about a red evil spirit, then started attacking me. Are you absolutely sure that thing's not inside you? Swear to the heavens, it's not. Li Tsang nodded frantically. Yu Qianqian's face darkened. She pointed at the man and shouted, Hey, did you not hear him? That level of evil spirit? There's no way a high school graduate could capture something like that. Now get lost. But the man didn't respond. He didn't even look at her, completely dismissive. Furious, Yu Qianqian turned to another girl nearby, Lianidi. Boost me, she barked. At once, her aura surged as she activated her minor divine art. Floral burial. In an instant, countless razor-sharp petals burst forth like a divine storm, raining down on the man from every direction. But the flurry of petals never reached their mark. They were all obliterated midair by the lightning field swirling around the man. Then he raised his hand and activated a minor divine art. Thunder burst. The moment it struck Yu Qianqian, a massive explosion detonated on impact. The shockwave was so intense, it blasted her straight into the air. Li Tsang rushed forward just in time, catching her before she hit the ground. Meanwhile, the man was already rising into the sky, surrounded by arcs of divine lightning. His presence was overwhelming. He was the thunder god, a manifested saint-level divine path warrior, with a jaw-dropping divinity score of 8,801. He spoke coldly. I don't care about your excuses, whether the evil spirit is inside you or not. I have my own ways to find out, even if I have to kill you all. Yu Qianqian snapped back. Kill us. You dare violate divine path law? Aren't you afraid of being hunted by the gods themselves? Li Tsang understood. The killing intent was real. And now, not just him, even the two senior sisters have been dragged into danger. In a fair fight, he had zero chance. His only hope was to drag the man into his divine kingdom. He didn't know if the kingdom could hold up, but at this point, he was ready to go down fighting. The man in the sky saw the defiance in Li Tsang's eyes, and his killing intent surged even stronger. Lightning howled around him as he roared, Die! But just before the fatal strike could land, the sky split open, and a colossal eye appeared overhead. An ancient, booming voice echoed across the heavens. I am the resident guardian of Changming City. Young one, it seems you've forgotten the divine path laws. Care to explain yourself? Do not think that just because you've barely reached the manifested saint level, you are above the law. You have a bright future, but if you continue this arrogance, I'll have no choice but to personally bring you down. Seeing this, the man scowled and sighed, then turned toward Li Tsang. You're Li Tsang, right? My name is Yuan Wanming. I'm from Zhongzhou Divine Path University, the official recruitment officer assigned to Changming City. Upon hearing the name, Yu Qianqian's face changed dramatically. She gasped in shock. Li Tsang blinked, confused. Wait, is this Yuan Wanming guy really that famous? Yu Qianqian's face grew serious. Zhongzhou Divine Path University. It's ranked #1 across all of Huaxia. They recruit over 90% of the nation's top divine path talents. And Yuan Wanming? He's one of their very best students. Hearing that, Li Tsang felt a chill run down his spine. Holy crap, I'm really screwed now, huh? Pissing off someone like him. I'm dead. Li Tsang whispered nervously, Senior, you'll protect me, right? Meanwhile, Yuan Wanming pressed harder, his voice smooth and coaxing. You should already know. As the official recruitment officer this year, I wield considerable authority. I'm sure those around you understand exactly what that means. Beyond the special admission slot I promised earlier, I can offer you even more. The best training resources, the finest instructor team, custom-tailored divine path plans. Very few recruitment officers can make such an offer at Zhongzhou. Then, his tone sharpened. So I'll ask one last time, are you handing over that evil spirit or not? Truth be told, there wasn't really a choice. It was either sell out or make an enemy for life. But Li Tsong had no way out. He swallowed hard and replied, I told you. The spirit ran off. It's not with me anymore. Yuan Wanming's eyes darkened. That's your decision? Fine, Li Tsong. I'll remember you. I just hope you don't come to regret it. With that, he turned into a flash of lightning and vanished from sight. Yu Qianqian bowed respectfully to the giant eye in the sky, offering her heartfelt thanks. As for Li Tsong, he wasted no time. Making up some excuse, he sprinted away like his life depended on it. Not because he was scared, but because he could feel it. His divine kingdom was on the verge of collapse. Gritting his teeth against the pain, Li Tsong staggered his way back home. Gritting his teeth through the pain, Li Tsong dove straight into his divine kingdom, desperately searching for the red evil spirit. He found it, standing right before the kingdom's one and only source of life, the divine tree. With a sickening snap, the creature lunged forward and sank its fangs into the sacred trunk. Horrified, Li Tsong immediately commanded the divine tree's vines to lash out, binding the evil spirit tightly. That monster nearly destroyed my entire kingdom. Studying the creature more closely, Li Tsong realized something. This thing isn't just an ordinary evil spirit. It must be hiding some kind of secret. But how could he defeat it? It was immune to fire, unaffected by water, and even shrugged off being smashed by stones. Suddenly, a thought struck him. Yuan Wanming. He was a lightning-type divine path user. All right, let's try lightning then. Without hesitation, Li Tsong began channeling the lightning energy inside his divine kingdom. A crackling surge of power gathered, and he unleashed it straight at the evil spirit. With a blinding flash, the creature visibly shrank by several sizes. It worked. Lightning actually worked. Li Tsong's eyes lit up. He rushed forward and continued the electric therapy. After 2.5 minutes of relentless zapping, he finally reduced the red evil spirit to a pile of ashes. A surge of energy flowed back into his body, but surprisingly, it wasn't as overwhelming as he'd expected. Just then, he noticed a small, red stone lying among the ashes. It seemed to be the only thing the evil spirit had left behind. Curious, Li Tsong reached out and touched it, only for a jolt of electricity to race through his entire body. Panicking, he instinctively flung his hand away, and a bolt of lightning blasted out, shattering a distant boulder into dust. Wait, did I really just do that? Li Tsong stared at his hands in disbelief. Was it because of that red stone? Unable to resist, he decided to test it out in the real world. With just a thought, electricity crackled wildly from his palms. It actually worked. In the world of divine paths, to wield a specific type of power, one needed matching divine attributes. And elemental divine paths. They were among the rarest and most powerful of all. Those who mastered elements were forces to be reckoned with, which meant Li Tsong now had the potential to walk the Thunder God's path. The next morning, Li Tsong, practically sparking with excitement and literal electricity, headed toward the school gates. He discovered something incredible. By channeling lightning through his meridians, he could drastically boost his movement speed. He barely had time to catch his breath before he was suddenly swarmed by a crowd of reporters. Li Tsong was completely baffled, clueless about why he was getting mobbed. Someone finally shouted, "You're the top scorer in all of Changming City this year." Glancing at the results board, Li Tsong saw it for himself. His name shining right at the top. Just as he was still processing the news, his homeroom teacher rushed over and said, "The principal wants to see you." Right away. The teacher added mysteriously, "Might be a little issue," but refused to explain further. Li Tsong's heart skipped a beat. Could it be about last night? But I was the victim. Surely they wouldn't blame me, right? Swallowing his nerves, Li Tsong took a deep breath. and pushed open the door to the principal's office. The moment Li Tsong walked in, the principal greeted him with a beaming smile and a barrage of praise. Li Tsong, you're the pride of our school this year. As the top scorer, we absolutely have to help you secure the best Divine Path University possible. Hearing that, Li Tsong finally relaxed a little. Phew, looks like it's not bad news after all. The principal continued. Normally, with your record-breaking performance, we'd expect a flood of Divine Path universities vying to recruit you. But today, something unexpected happened. Most of the recruitment officers were struck by lightning on their way here. Li Tsong stood there, completely dumbfounded. What? The principal sighed and explained. Changming City is located near a constant thunderstorm zone. Usually, the storms aren't strong enough to endanger Divine Paythairs. But this year, well, things went sideways. The homeroom teacher chimed in from the side. Doesn't matter which school they were from, every single recruiter that tried coming through got fried. It's like the heavens themselves are trying to ruin your future. Li Tsong felt a chill run down his spine. No way. Don't tell me there's no one left to recruit me. The principal chuckled and patted his shoulder reassuringly. Relax. 2 schools managed to get their officers in ahead of the storms. One is Hanhai Divine Path University, and the other, Zhongzhou Divine Path University, the #1 school in the nation. With your grades, securing a special admission spot should be no problem at all. We're already reaching out to Zhongzhou's recruitment officer on your behalf, so don't worry. Hearing that, Li Tsong's heart pounded with excitement. If I can really get into Zhongzhou Divine Path University, then my road to godhood is practically guaranteed. But then, wait a second. Zhongzhou Divine Path University? Why does that sound so familiar? Li Tsong's face stiffened. Hold up, isn't Yuan Wanming the recruiter for Zhongzhou? No wonder all the other recruiters got zapped by lightning. That bastard must have set the whole thing up. Li Tsong nearly cried on the spot. Man, I was just minding my own business, and trouble still found me. Seeing his gloomy expression, the principal quickly tried to reassure him. Don't worry, another recruiter's already been waiting to meet you. As they walked, the principal added, even if no one officially recruits you, you can still apply through regular admissions. As long as your scores meet the cutoff, you'll get in. You just won't get the perks and scholarships that come with a special admission. Hearing that, Li Tsong groaned. That's brutal. I can't afford those insane tuition fees. A few minutes later, they arrived at the school's meeting room. As soon as he stepped inside, Li Tsong spotted a familiar face. It was senior sister Yu Chanqian. Without wasting time, she got straight to the point. Junior, I'll be blunt. I want you to join Hanhai Divine Path University. I can offer you free tuition, premium living accommodations, and 3 days access to the divinity pool. Hearing that, Li Tsong couldn't help but mutter internally, damn that Yuan Wanming. Without other offers to compare to, how am I supposed to know if this deal's any good? Plus, what the heck is a divinity pool anyway? Even though he knew he didn't have much choice, Li Tsong steeled himself. He had to drive a harder bargain and squeeze out every advantage he could. Seeing Li Tsong's hesitation, senior sister sweetened the deal even more. We'll also throw in 100 divine credits every month for training resources. That offer left both the homeroom teacher and the principal stunned. Meanwhile, Li Tsong muttered under his breath, unimpressed. 100? What's that going to get me? A couple of pork buns. The senior sister chuckled and explained, depend where you shop. Each divine credit is infused with pure divine energy. 1 divine credit is worth about 10,000 yuan. You do the math. Li Tsong's heart practically slammed against his ribs. But he forced himself to stay cool, putting on his best poker face. Money doesn't interest me. Then he added dramatically, bring out the next recruiter. This top scorer is feeling a little capricious. The principal sighed and said, the other recruiter is Yuan Wanming from Zhongzhou Divine Path University. But for some reason, he's refusing to come meet you. Li Tsong almost choked on air. Are you kidding me? That damn old fox again. Left with no better options, Li Tsong turned to the principal and teacher and whispered desperately, any advice, please? Like, seriously? The principal adjusted his glasses, his tone solemn as he said, while I can't interfere with your final decision, if you want my advice, I recommend Hanhai Divine Path University. Huaxia has grown vast, and those who leave Han Prefecture rarely come back. Our region has been struggling with a massive brain drain, and to this day, we've never had a true guardian god of our own. That's why we hope to retain our brightest talents here. Hearing this, Li Tsong's heart stirred. The principal's right, and those two senior sisters have already gone above and beyond for me. Taking a deep breath, Li Tsong reached out his hand to the senior sister and said firmly, I choose Hanhai Divine Path University. The senior sister's face lit up with joy. Wonderful. I promise you won't regret this decision. Sure, we're only barely ranked in Huaxia's top 100 schools right now, but that's only because we're a newer institution. You won't even need to fill out a formal application. I'll personally report your name for enrollment. She handed him a shimmering admission letter. This acceptance letter was forged by divine hands. It's completely tamper-proof. Just be sure to show up on September 1st. Holding the heavy, radiant letter in his hands, Li Tsong stepped out of the school building, his heart filled with hope for the future. Holding the admission letter, Li Tsong couldn't help but marvel. Man, even the paperwork looks fancy. No wonder it's a Divine Path University. Just then, an older woman brushed past him. She paused and asked casually, Young man, is that your acceptance letter? Grinning proudly, Li Tsong replied, Hiding it so well, and you still spotted it? You've got sharp eyes, ma'am. The woman chuckled and said, It looks so beautiful. Mind if I take a closer look? Not thinking much of it, Li Tsong handed the letter over. The woman examined it carefully, then asked, Are you the top scorer of Changming City this year? Feeling a little bashful, Li Tsong scratched the back of his head and said, Ah, you're making me blush. The woman smiled warmly as she handed the letter back. No doubt about it. You're the one. But just as he reached for it, the woman suddenly grabbed his wrist in a tight grip. Before he could react, she struck him with a brutal palm strike, the mighty Vajra palm. Li Tsong scrambled to steady himself, barely keeping his footing after that crazy hit. What the hell is wrong with this old lady? The next second, the woman lifted her stiff, old leg and charged at him like a lunatic. Without hesitation, Li Tsong aimed and fired, blasting her with a 100,000-volt lightning strike. But unbelievably, the old woman shrugged off the pain, screaming at the top of her lungs, For the glory of the high god! Roaring, she threw another wild punch straight at him. Li Tsong dodged with a quick backstep, and the woman's fist slammed full force into a nearby utility pole. Her hand got stuck, wedged deep inside the pole. Seeing the opening, Li Tsong gathered all the lightning he could muster. You want to kill me? Fine. Then don't blame me for what happens next. In the blink of an eye, he charged up a brilliant bolt of energy, a thunderbolt sphere. With a deafening blast, he unleashed it point blank, blowing the old woman to pieces. Just as Li Tsong was finally starting to relax, thinking the danger was over, another figure suddenly lunged at him from behind. In the attacker's hands, a colossal 40-meter-long blade aimed straight for Li Tsong's kidneys. But before the blade could land, Senior Sister swooped in like a lightning bolt, striking once, and sending the assassin to join his dearly departed companion. She landed lightly, rushing over to him with a worried look. Junior, are you all right? It was only then that the school's security team finally arrived, ambling onto the scene. Their leader, known as Brother G, started scolding immediately. Even if you're the top scorer, you can't just brawl in public like this. Another guard quickly whispered a report. Sir, there's lingering divine energy. They were followers of an otherworldly god and had their bodies enhanced by divine power. Brother G's face turned grave. He barked furiously. Investigate immediately. Find every last one of their accomplices. They dared to attempt an assassination on our city's top scholar in broad daylight. Senior Sister snapped coldly. Protecting the city's top student is your responsibility. If anything had happened to him, none of you would be able to escape punishment. Brother G paled and quickly bowed deeply, apologizing over and over. Senior Sister walked over, smiling proudly. Even though that cultist was only at level 9 warrior strength, I'm impressed you managed to handle him alone. And judging by your abilities, are you aiming for the Thunder God Divine Path? Likang Nudaya Jarli. Yeah, but does Hanhai Divine Path University even offer Thunder God paths? Senior sister chuckled confidently. Of course we do. In fact, we have a Thunder God instructor who's part of the National Thousand Talents program. Hearing that, Li Tsang finally relaxed, a wave of relief washing over him. I was worried Hanhai wouldn't have any Thunder instructors. Senior sister added seriously. Junior, you drew a lot of attention today, and without a guardian deity protecting Changming County, there might be more trouble brewing. Why don't you return to campus with me? First thing tomorrow. Without hesitation, Li Tsang agreed immediately. Meanwhile, Brother Ji came over and reported followers of otherworldly gods usually act in groups. Li Tsang's situation is far from safe yet. He then dispatched 2 security officers to secretly guard Li Tsang around the clock. Once back home, Li Tsang wasted no time. He dove straight into his divine kingdom to inspect his gains and prepare for what was to come. Inside Li Tsang's divine kingdom, a miraculous event occurred. His very first life form appeared. A single, oval-shaped egg rested at the center of the realm. It didn't take long before the egg began to tremble and crack open. For 29, with a soft pop, a tiny, fluffy kitten emerged from inside. Seeing the little fur ball, Li Tsang couldn't help but grin. How adorable! I never expected the first creature in my divine kingdom to be a cat. Gently scooping it up, he smiled and said, "From today on, your name will be Yin Yin." Still, having only one little kitten felt a bit too lonely. This place needs a little more life. Almost as if it understood, Yin Yin wriggled free from his arms, landed gracefully, and let out a few soft meows. In response to its call, several more small animals materialized across the divine kingdom. Laughing, Li Tsang ruffled Yin Yan's fur and said, all right, looks like you're in charge of pet management from now on." With his divine kingdom bustling with life, Li Tsang exited back into the real world. He decided to head downstairs for a late-night snack, and maybe check the streets for any lingering evil spirits while he was at it. Li Tsang hummed an off-key tune, wandering lazily toward the night market. But halfway there, he spotted someone familiar. Mi Exin, crouching all alone by the roadside. Why is this little girl by herself again? Li Tsang frowned, walked over, and asked, "Hey, little one, what's wrong?" Mi Xin kept her head down and mumbled, "I'm fine. Likang siga inwarli." Must be family stuff again. No way he could just leave her there. Ruffling her hair gently, he smiled and said, "Stop staring at the ants. Big brother's taking you out for a feast." Mi Xin looked up at him, eyes wide with disbelief. "Really? I can." Li Tsang grabbed her tiny hand and grinned. "Of course you can." A short while later, he brought her to a small, cozy noodle shop. The moment they stepped in, Li Tsang shouted cheerfully, "Uncle Lu, 2 bowls of noodles, 1 veggie, 1 beef." The shop owner, Uncle Lu, glanced over and teased, "You sure you can afford beef noodles, kid? You still owe me for that meal from 2.5 years ago." Scratching his head sheepishly, Li Tsang laughed. "I'll pay you back soon, promise." As they waited for the food, Li Tsang leaned in and asked gently, "So, little one, what's really bothering you?" Mi Xin hesitated, then whispered sadly, "Mommy, she's pregnant." Li Tsang blinked in surprise, then chuckled warmly and said, "Hey, that's not so bad. You'll have a little sibling to keep you company." Mi Xin lowered her head, her voice trembling. "But my dad always said I was a worthless burden. Now that he's having a son, he doesn't want me anymore. Look, I ran away, and no one at home even noticed. Dad doesn't even look at me anymore. Mom's always too busy with her own stuff. Even outside, no one wants to play with me. Sometimes it feels like this whole world doesn't care if I exist." Hearing this, Li Tsang reached out and ruffled her hair gently, cutting her off with a firm voice. "Hey now, don't say such silly things." He crouched down to meet her eyes, his tone soft but steady. "Who said no one cares about you? I care about you. No matter what happens, I'll always be right here with you." Upon hearing those words, Mi Xin burst into tears, throwing herself into his arms and sobbing uncontrollably. After they finished eating, Mi Xian whispered shyly. I don't want to go home yet. Can I stay at your place for a little while? Meanwhile, hidden behind a cluster of trees near Li Tsang's home, the two security officers kept watch silently. One of them murmured, Should we report this in? The other shook his head. Better not. Let him act naturally. Otherwise, the rats might get spooked. But after a pause, he added with a frown, Still, if something goes wrong, it'd be a real shame to lose a kid as talented as him. Hidden in the trees, one of the security officers muttered, Relax. Our captain doesn't act without a plan. Meanwhile, back at home, Li Tsang noticed something off the moment he stepped inside. The power was out. As he frowned, there was a sudden knock at the door. Mi Xian, curious, started walking toward it. Alarm bells blaring in his head, Li Tsang shouted, Wait, don't open it. But it was already too late. The door burst open, and a bald man stormed in, lunging straight at Mi Xian with a gleaming knife. In a split second, Li Tsang grabbed Mi Xian by the back of her collar and yanked her safely behind him. His gaze hardened, and he immediately summoned his crackling lightning power. But outside, more danger loomed. A swarm of masked figures was gathering at the doorway. In the blink of an eye, they all charged straight at Li Tsang, murderous intent radiating from their every step. Li Tsang didn't hesitate. He gathered his lightning power and unleashed a thunderous blast at the masked attackers. But at that moment, the bald man suddenly swung a massive iron chain. With deadly precision, he snared Mi Xian tightly. In the blink of an eye, Mi Xian was taken hostage. Seeing this, the other masked men charged straight at Li Tsang. Li Tsang twisted to the side, dodging the first wave of attacks. He immediately began charging up for a counterstrike. But the bald man barked a threat. Move again, and the girl dies. Distracted for just a split second, Li Tsang narrowly avoided a knife thrust from another masked attacker. He twisted around fluidly and smashed his elbow into the attacker's ribs, sending him crashing backward. The bald man roared in fury, Stand down, or she dies. But before he could follow through, Mi Xian sank her teeth hard into his arm. Seizing the moment, Li Tsang snatched up a fallen dagger and hurled it with all his might. The blade flew true, burying itself deep in the bald man's throat. One clean kill. Seeing their leader fall, the remaining masked attackers went berserk, rushing at Li Tsang like moths to a flame. Meanwhile, downstairs near Li Tsang's building, the two security guards' radios crackled to life. Team A, be advised, the cultists are closing in on the target. The one-eyed officer replied over the comms. All clear on our end. Where are you getting this intel from? The voice on the other end answered. We caught a lookout outside the complex. After some encouragement, he spilled everything. The one-eyed guard scoffed. Fake intel. Stay on alert. Target remains secure. We're stationed right below their unit. No sooner had he finished speaking, a sudden explosion rocked the building behind him. Both guards froze, utterly stunned. They scrambled up the stairs, rushing to check what had happened. But the moment they burst through the door, Li Tsang hurled a throwing knife straight at them. When they finally took in the scene inside, they were left speechless. Li Tsang stood there, crackling with pure lightning energy, coldly warning, Don't come any closer. The guards immediately raised their hands, frantically explaining, We're enforcers. We're not your enemy. Li Tsang narrowed his eyes and retorted, Enforcers? Shouldn't you be out there protecting me? Or are you trying to set me up? Did I somehow offend you? The one-eyed officer quickly tried to explain, You've got it wrong, Li Tsang. We didn't expect them to bypass our perimeter. Just then, their squad leader, Brother G, entered the room, speaking up, Apologies, Li Tsang. Due to special circumstances, we couldn't inform you in advance. He added solemnly, But believe me, our only mission is to capture the cultists. You're not our target. Li Tsang snapped, his voice full of fury. So from the start, you guys weren't here to protect me at all? You knew the cultists would come for me. I was just bait, wasn't I? After giving a vague explanation, Brother G waved his hand, ordering his team to clean up the scene and prepare to pull out. Li Tsang shouted, rage burning in his chest. I get it. In this world, normal lives don't mean much. But using someone else as cannon fodder, Doesn't that bother your conscience even a little? Brother G responded calmly. You played a crucial role in this operation. By regulation, you get a 10,000 yuan bounty for every cultist you killed. Li Tsong gritted his teeth and barked back. I don't want your damn blood money. I want an explanation, or you'll be seeing me on the news. Hearing that, Brother G finally softened, lowering his head slightly. I understand your anger. We mishandled this situation. He continued. According to our investigation, your mother left behind a significant amount of debt when she disappeared. We'll pay off the full amount for you. On top of that, we'll give you an extra 100,000 yuan in compensation and completely renovate your home. Inside, Li Tsong cursed to himself. Damn it, I really didn't want to let this slide, but that's just too much money to ignore. Clearing his throat awkwardly, he asked, So, I'm heading off to school the day after tomorrow. When exactly will the money be transferred? Brother G patted his chest confidently and promised, Don't worry. The money will hit your account before you head off to school. Hearing that, Li Tsong finally let out a long breath, relaxing for the first time in days. But nearby, Mi Xin still wore a troubled expression. She pouted and asked, Why didn't you tell me you were going to college? Li Tsong quickly apologized. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention it. Besides, it's dangerous here. Once I'm at Divine Path University, there'll be stronger people to protect me. Squatting down to her level, Li Tsong spoke sincerely. Please, just give me a little time. Once I graduate and get stronger, I'll come back for you and take you away from that place. Mi Xian's nose turned red, and without warning, she threw herself into his arms, hugging him tightly. A few days later, Li Tsong made his way to the outskirts of the city, alone. Immersed in his training, he reflected deeply. The sparks dancing in my fingertips, they're my unwavering faith. And in that moment of pure focus, Li Tsong realized his newly mastered technique was far more powerful than he had ever expected. Just one coin, and the power it unleashed was terrifying. Li Tsong thought to himself, if I fire 10 coins at once, it'd be like a freaking TNT explosion. After more practice, he realized something important. The explosive force depended mainly on the size and mass of the metal, not so much on how much lightning he pumped into it. Plus, the explosion only triggered through collision. Grinning with excitement, Li Tsong officially named the move Railgun. Feeling proud, he made his way back home. As soon as he stepped inside, he froze. His old, crumbling house had been completely renovated. The once rundown place was now warm, luxurious, and full of life. Li Tsong's heart softened, and he sighed quietly. If Dad were still around, he would have been so happy to see this. Just then, his phone buzzed. It was Senior's sister. She told him his train ticket to Divine Path University was ready. He just needed to swipe his ID to board. Gathering his things, Li Tsong hopped into a taxi and headed straight for the train station. On the way, Li Tsong's teacher called, informing him that the school had decided to award him a 30,000 yuan bonus for being the top scorer. After hanging up, Li Tsong checked his account and nearly fainted. There was an extra 130,000 yuan sitting there. Turns out, the police department's bounty for defeating the cultists had also been deposited. It was the first time in his life he had ever seen that much money. Heart pounding with excitement, he shouted inwardly, Divine Path University. Here I come. Arriving at the train station, Li Tsong noticed a crowd of Divine Path users gathering. There were cleanse-type Divine Path users, efficiently sweeping up trash. Food Divine Path users manning food stalls, and even Magnetic Force users controlling luggage carts. After a short 2.5-minute wait, the high-speed train pulled into the station. Ticket in hand, Li Tsong eagerly searched for his assigned seat. But when he found it, there was already a stunning beauty sitting there. His heart raced wildly. Single for 20 years, and finally, fate throws me a bone. Grinning like a gentleman, he approached and said, Miss, I think you might be in my seat. But that's okay. For you, I, Li Tsong, am willing to sacrifice my seat and share this beautiful journey with you. But then, the woman looked up. It was Zhao Ing shot him a cold look and snorted. What kind of circus act is this supposed to be? Kulustrad likam damanda. Why are you in my seat? Without even blinking, Zhao Ying said casually, "This seat's mine now. You can sit outside." With no other choice, Li Tsong reluctantly sat down next to Zhao Ying. Trying to break the ice, he asked, "So what brings you here?" Zhao Ying replied coolly, "School. Li Kang Grinet Mishiawosli." Wow, what a coincidence. Never thought I'd end up going to the same school as a gorilla girl. Before he could even finish smack, Zhao Ying landed a solid punch right on his face. Only then did Li Tsong notice senior sister and Liang Kuan sitting across from them. Senior sister explained with a chuckle, "You three are all special recruits for Hanhai Divine Path University. The perks we promised you, they've been approved by the admissions office. But there's a condition. You must place in the top 3 in every year-end tournament. If not, your special status will be revoked and you'll be treated as a regular recruit." Li Tsong grumbled internally, "Great, the admissions office really has it out for me." Seeing his expression, senior sister smiled and added, "Don't worry. With proper coaching and training resources, you'll all get stronger. The rewards for the top 3 are similar, but if you manage to rank on the overall leaderboard, the prizes are absolutely insane. Even the 100th place gets 1,000 Divine Path coins a month." She continued, "The Divine Path ranking was set up by the school to encourage competition among students. There are 4 leaderboards: freshman, sophomore, junior, and overall. Each one lists the top 100 students." Hearing all this, Li Tsong clenched his fists inwardly. "I'll make it, no matter what. I'll fight my way to the top." As he was pumping himself up, something outside the window caught his eye. A massive serpent suddenly lunged toward the speeding train. But just as it was about to strike, it dissolved into a blinding flash of light and vanished. Alarmed, Li Tsong turned to senior sister and asked, "What the heck was that?" She answered calmly, "We're probably passing near a dead zone. Mutant beasts roam those areas. But don't worry, there's a divine guardian stationed on this train. No ordinary monster would dare attack." Senior sister patiently explained, "Dead zones are places where gods once fell. Due to the lingering divine wills, divine power, and broken laws, over time, these areas spawn monsters, evil spirits, and mutant beasts. They're extremely dangerous, total death traps for humans. Every year, Divine Path universities organize teams to cleanse dead zones. Once the residual divine energy and laws are purged, the land can slowly heal." At that point, Zhao Ying chimed in. There was a news report. Yuan Wanming once single-handedly wiped out a dead zone near Hanhai, one that had a demigod-level beast. He's ranked in the top 10 of the entire Zhongzhou Divine Path University." Hearing that, Li Tsong frowned inwardly. Someone that powerful, and he was still after a little evil spirit? Seemed a bit petty. Sensing his doubts, senior sister explained further, "Not all evil spirits are the same. Ordinary ones are just bits of leftover resentment. But the one you encountered was formed from the remnants of a fallen god from another world. Purifying spirits like that can massively boost your chances of forming your own divine mark. Divine marks are the ultimate proof of a god's existence. Without one, you can't ascend to true godhood." She added, "Also, that evil spirit you have, it's part of a special trial. If you can collect 10 of them, you'll earn the right to inherit a powerful divine ability." Hearing that, Li Tsong's eyes lit up. He realized, since the first spirit was already inside him, maybe he could join this legendary trial too.